What if the real key to understanding political power wasn't in some textbook or on the nightly news, but in the teachings of a mystic? That's the fascinating and pretty wild idea we're diving into today. We're going to use the philosophy of Osho to look at a figure like Donald Trump, not really as a politician, but as a kind of mirror.
And this is really the heart of it. Through Osho's lens, a figure like Trump isn't some kind of anomaly. He's a perfect reflection, an unfiltered mirror showing us what this philosophy sees as the built-in madness of politics itself. So the focus isn't just on one guy, it's on a universal mindset.
Okay, so to really get what this mirror is showing us, we have to look at what's being reflected, right? According to Osho's philosophy, what's really going on inside a politician's head? What's the psychological engine that drives this constant, relentless search for power? And here's the diagnosis. Osho's political man isn't someone motivated by public service. No. This philosophy argues they're defined by this huge inner void. Their ambition, it's not born from strength, but from a really deep-seated feeling of being inferior. So power becomes the ultimate fix from the outside for an ego that feels desperately, desperately small on the inside. And this, of course, leads to a massive contradiction. You see this split between the public face and the private drive. They talk a great game about service and peace, but their actions, which are fueled by that bottomless ego, always end up creating control, conflict, and chaos. This philosophy completely flips that old saying on its head. The idea isn't that power corrupts people. It's that people who are already, in Osho's view, psychologically and spiritually corrupt are the ones who are just irresistibly drawn to power. It's like a moth to a flame. They just can't help it. So how does this kind of abstract theory actually play out in the real world? Well, the source material applies this lens to modern politics, and it reframes the whole thing as a kind of global sandbox for the political ego to play in. Think about the reported suggestion of buying Greenland. Through this philosophical lens, that's not some grand strategic move. It's the impulse of a toddler in a sandbox. They see a toy they want, and they just try to grab it. It's seen as this pure, raw will to just dominate. And you see the same logic applied to bigger global tensions. The source actually connects these actions to a bruised ego, suggesting they could come from something as seemingly petty as being snubbed for a Nobel Prize. In this view, major world events can be driven by the personal slights felt by one powerful person. This perspective also helps explain the alignment with authoritarian leaders. It's shown as a clear symptom of what Osho would call the sickness of the political mind, a mind that only respects power and control because, well, it sees itself mirrored in others who have it. The source just calls this, simply, the politics of insanity. But here's the thing. Just as we're pointing the finger outwards, the philosophy takes this really sharp, pretty uncomfortable turn. It suggests the mirror isn't just for politicians on the world stage, it's also for us. And this is where you kind of have to pause and ask yourself, is this hunger for power and validation something that only exists out there in presidents and prime ministers? Or is it maybe a human thing we all share, just on a much, much smaller scale? And here it is, the direct challenge from this philosophy. The argument is that same ego, that same desire to dominate, to win, to be number one, it exists in all of us. The politician is simply an amplified, public version of a little voice we all have inside. So if the problem is really internal, then the solution has to be internal too. This philosophy doesn't propose some political fix, like a new law or voting for a different leader. It proposes a spiritual one. And honestly, this is the most critical takeaway. According to this view, you can't vote your way out of the problem. You can't protest it away. The only path to changing the world of politics is by changing the internal world of each person. It's a personal journey. The path forward is laid out in 3 simple-sounding steps. First, you've got to recognize it. Just become aware of your own ego, that part of you that wants to control and dominate. Second, and this is a fun one, is detachment. Instead of fighting it, the advice is to just laugh at how absurd it is. And finally, transcendence, using that awareness and humor to move beyond it completely. So what does transcendence even mean in this context? It's all about completely dissolving that will to power, letting the ego just drop away. The ultimate vision here is a world where nobody wants to rule, so nobody needs to be ruled. A world built on individual freedom. And that leaves us with one last, really provocative thought.
We spend so much time and energy trying to fix the political world out there, the leaders, the parties, the policies. But what if, according to this mystic's view, the real work, the only work that truly matters, is right here, inside ourselves?